Hello students, this is Mrs. Robinson here to talk to you for just a couple of minutes about Newton's laws of motion. The first law that we're going to talk about has a formal name. It's called the law of inertia. And you maybe have heard that word before, but we're going to make sure we understand it. But the law in itself is a description of a behavior for all objects on our planet, for all matter. And simply said, it's stated as an object at rest stays at rest, or an object in motion stays in motion, unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Now, those objects that are in motion are going to stay in a constant direction of travel and the same constant speed. The unbalanced force that can come along can be gravity, friction, a push, or a pull, just to name a few. So the first law is called the law of inertia. The classic example that you as an 8th grader should know is the seatbelt scenario. So down here at the bottom, you see the blue car traveling at a certain rate of travel. It hits an unbalanced force, which is the wall, and the person that's in the car would actually like to continue to move the way that it was, which is forward. And if there were no seat belt, the person would actually fly out of the front of the car, and that's not a good situation. The word inertia in itself is a science word to describe matter, so it's a property of matter. And inertia simply means objects have a tendency to resist any change in their motion. They don't want to change. They don't want to stop what they're doing. So objects at rest will stay at rest. Objects in motion will stay in motion at a constant travel. So inertia, being a property of matter, is affected by two variables, mass and speed. So the greater the mass the object has, the greater the inertia, the harder it is to change its motion. So massive objects are hard to stop what they're doing in terms of motion or to get moving. The greater the speed, the greater the inertia. Things traveling at a higher rate of speed are harder to stop than things traveling at a slower rate of speed. So mass and speed will come into play with the property of inertia. These examples you can read through with your class and discuss them. I'd just like to touch on these two photos here. The left picture is showing you, of course, a football example with the Great Aggies in TSIP. And you see here somebody traveling at a rate of speed. Easy to stop or not stop depending on the speed. Is another reason why we put very massive linemen on the line. It's very difficult to get those linemen moving. Sad example over here of objects traveling at a high rate of speed. Hard to stop those objects, and that's why the accidents can be so detrimental. So the first law of inertia, again, is about objects at rest would like to stay at rest. Objects in motion would like to stay in motion unless they're acted on by an unbalanced force.